This is Joe Basso with Music Radar, the place for music makers. I'm speaking with drummer Matt Sorum. Matt, how you doing?
I'm all right.
A little rumors going around that you might join Oasis. What is this?
Really?
I saw it on the internet.
I wasn't asked. And I really like that drummer they have. I think it's Ringo's kid, right?
It was Ringo's kid.
Zach Starkey.
He just left.
Where'd he go? Back to the Who?
Back to the Who.
Oh.
So,
well, God, they haven't called me. Maybe they don't have my number.
if you were asked, what would you do?
I really love that band. I don't know. Maybe I could go out on tour for a little while. Who knows? Call me. My number is...
What is the status of Velvet Revolver? What progress are you guys having with the new lead singer?
We are looking. We are actively looking. We rehearsed for a couple weeks. We tried out a couple of guys. We have a guy right now that we're still, let me see, what would be the correct word? Massaging, as you will, or, sort of checking it out, feeling it out, letting him work with us.
Nobody you can say, of course, right?
I'd rather not, just because I don't want it to get out that he might be the guy. We like him. He's awesome. It's really weird because Slash and Duff and myself, and especially the three of us, we were kind of like, wow, this guy shows up to rehearsal on time. He's really nice. He's easy to get along with. And it actually kind of scared us because we thought, is this possible? We were like...
It's not Sammy Hagar.
Oh, God, he's a nice guy, isn't he? I mean, probably one of the nicest guys in rock and roll, and a great singer. And, God, I was worried for a minute that it was almost like, when you get in a relationship with a girl, or a guy gets in a relationship, with a girl, or a girl gets in a relationship with a guy, and maybe they're really, really, really nice, and for some reason you don't like them.
Right.
I'm kind of worried that we might be so used to the drama that,
Well, meaning that the drama fuels the creativity of the band?
I don't know. I'm a little concerned because I kind of looked around at the guys. I said, man, this guy's a super nice dude, man. You think we can go with that or what?
Well, whenever a lead singer does join a band, an established band, inevitably there is a change.
Yeah.
If you could,
I think so.
If you could wish for any musical changes in the band, say, what would they be?
I would really like to see our band, Velvet Revolver, which is something that we've been talking about. We don't like to talk about the music too much in a general term of kind of like, what kind of music should we play? I mean, we aren't those kind of guys. We just get in there and jam. But I would like to see us open up and get back to a little bit of our riff-oriented stuff, which I have talked to Slash and Duff about and said, hey, man, let's throw down some of those heavy riff rock grooves again. Let's get back to our roots. We've talked about that. I think initially when we went into Velvet Revolver, we were concerned because, as I said, we don't really talk about those things, but we did try to make a forward rock and roll album, a modern rock and roll album. And, we brought in Andy Wallace to mix it, and the way we mixed the album versus how we used to mix records was a little bit more radio friendly, compressed, Andy Wallace mix. But now I think we're gonna, after Libertad, we dabbled in tones and did some things and pulled back maybe a little bit too much. I feel that record wasn't quite as heavy as maybe we were on the first album. So I think I'd like to see the band get a little heavier, a little bit more riff rock, and more heavy rock and roll on this next album, I hope.
This unnamed singer that you're trying out and feel pretty good about, do you think he might bring that change about?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny looking for a singer now for guys from where we come from, and we've been around a while. The choice of singers is very interesting because we don't really want to come off. I don't want to say dated, but if we get a certain type of rock singer, it can very easily fall into sort of a retro rock and roll bluesy thing, which isn't a bad thing. But we're very much concerned with the fact that we don't want to come off like an older rock and roll band, even though we are older guys. We want to create a modern thing. You know, we want to move forward, so we don't want to try to like rest on our laurels. Yeah, we were in Guns N' Roses and we had Axl Rose. We're not trying to go for that kind of sound. You know what I mean? We're trying to do something fresh and different. So I guess it's just we're gonna have to hear it when we hear it. You know, when we hear the guy, we'll all look at each other and go, "That's it."
So have you all just gotten together in studios and jammed, or have you actually done demos?
Yeah, we have. What we did do is when we got singers contacted us and people that we were recommended and people that came through different sources, we'd send them a couple of tracks, of instrumental tracks. And what we did initially was have them sing on the music and then send back the tracks. So we could really weed out a lot of people on that right away, you know, just like, no, you know. So that's kind of what happened there. And then we would bring the guys from that point into the rehearsal room. And then you kind of get a feel for who the guy is as a person, you know, what's his demeanor, all that.
Right.
Pretty initially, fairly quick. I mean, we're all human beings. We all kind of can intuitively pick a person's vibe out, you know, pretty quickly. So one particular guy came in and he didn't last much more than a couple of songs.
Oh wow, okay.
But I don't want to say who that is because he's great for what he does. He's made some records. And,
Sammy Hagar.
yeah. You know, it's funny, we were jamming with Steven Tyler, me and Slash were doing this thing for the MAP Awards, and Steven got up and I looked at Slash and I said, God, wouldn't it be great if we could find a guy like him? He's pretty good. And Steven Tyler looked at me and he said, that's not a bad idea. I said, come on, man, you ain't going anywhere from Aerosmith.
Well, at least you wouldn't have to worry about being the old guys in the band then.
Yeah.
You know.
Fuck, he's still good though. I tell you, that guy can sing.
On your website, there is a message that you wrote in March, and I guess it was right when Scott left the band. And you were very polite and you wished him all the best. But since that time, there's been a bit of a war of words in the press between the two of you. What happened there?
I think I actually, before we got into a little wordy thing, but initially, what I've said before is when we were in Glasgow, Scotland, he got on stage and made a rant about Velvet Revolver's Over. Well, I took that very personally because me and Slash and Duff had that band 2 years before he came along, and he claims that it was his name and all that kind of stuff. Well, you know, we came up with the name Revolver. He added Velvet to it. Well, it's half of ours, half his, whatever. But
like the new originals.
Yeah, well, you know, we worked for a long time before we got Scott. And, you know, we weren't going to just say, hey, Scott's leaving and we're going to break up. That, you know, no. So, you know, when he said that on stage, I was pretty upset and went back to my hotel and I sat down and I wrote a blog on my website. You know, I was really felt at that time that I wanted to do Damage Control, and I felt bad for the crowd. And to be honest with you, I was really sick of dealing with it, that kind of attitude, and I've been doing it my whole career, just kind of sitting back and letting these guys get away with fucking murder. And I just said, fuck this shit, man. I'm going to get on the internet and I'm going to write some stuff and to my fans that are also my fans too. They're not just his.
Yeah.
And I said, look, I apologize for some people's behavior. You know, it's not the band. I didn't want them to think, you know, not that we ever really took blame for it, but I didn't want the fans to think that we were just going to lay down and play dead.
Right.
And I said, you know, everyone knows whose fault it was. It was very apparent who was up on stage being an asshole. And I'm just not going to be the guy that's going to take responsibility for that. So I kind of said something, and then that got grabbed all over the internet.
Now, did it totally take you by surprise?